Hello and welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. My name is Jesse. This is Joe. Let us know in the chat. You can see us and hear us, and we will get started with this long-awaited show. Right? Loud and clear. Thank you, Miranda Crew. Awesome. Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. We are happy to be back here. I'm happy I could use that thumbnail after last week. We had a lot of trouble with the show last Monday.
Third time's the charm on this one, man.
We tried to do it Tuesday, and now we're doing it today. We have been insanely busy over the past few days. As a lot of you know, it's kind of been, as they say in the business, bananas.
Yeah. Wow.
The fruit business.
We didn't do the show last Monday, obviously, due to issues. We'll just leave it at that. Luckily, we think we got that all sorted out on the YouTube end. And,
Hopefully so.
And then we had some weather, which hit us Tuesday and kept us from doing it. And so we were able to go live from the field over the weekend to kind of make up for it for everybody, kind of let everybody see what we were doing. A little chaotic on the live, which seems to be the...
Yeah, so let's get into that. I want to first of all thank you guys if you joined us on Saturday for our live stream. We did a live investigation. We did a Sasquatch stakeout. You know, we have to use that alliteration with Hellbent Holler. But we did a Sasquatch stakeout, and that was a live stream that we did for everybody. Ever since, I believe, one of those URI incidents, we have been reserving our live investigations for members only because we were doxxed.
We got doxxed.
Yeah,
we got doxxed.
That's what prompted. You can go on and talk about that.
There's a lot of bitterness and jealousy in especially the Bigfoot world. Although I guess that's everywhere nowadays, man. Paranormal world, everything like that. But yeah, we got doxxed. So
hot take on Bigfootery.
Yeah. So somebody was trying to call the authorities and tell them that we were out doing illegal stuff, which we weren't. But you still don't want to run in with the authorities in the middle of the night when you've got a bunch of equipment and you're armed and you're already doing weird stuff.
And you got a 10mm strap future.
Yes. So
that's what kind of prompted us to move forward with the...
1 second. Jay Satori asked, doxing is where someone will malignantly call the... Maliciously. I'm tired. I've had
malignant like a cancer.
Yes. I've had 2 hours sleep. They will call the authorities on you and report you of false wrongdoing in order to basically jam you up. So we ran afoul of a couple of the URI Bigfoot people, Bigfoot like researchers who were upset that we were in their territory. So we had to stop doing live streams publicly, but we decided to do one this weekend.
Yeah. So that's what prompted us to kind of start doing that exclusively for members. And that's part of our members exclusive stuff is we do live investigations. We come live from the field for our members. And that's been awesome. That's been an awesome thing that we started doing just for members. But this weekend on Saturday night, we decided it was high time that we had a public live stream. We wanted to kind of mix it up with that live stream and do a stakeout. I know that you guys are used to us busting through the brush and running through the woods and chasing after danger. But there's a lot more to what we do than just that. That's kind of the exciting stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of mundane to what we do as well. As you guys know, we're very, very tech heavy with our investigations and our data collection. We're very tech heavy. So we kind of wanted to share that aspect of our research with you guys and do it live, do it in a live setting. So the area we were in for that live stream is just a stone's throw away from the area that is featured in the series on the Laurel Creek incident. The Laurel Creek incident was featured in the last video, that the full-length investigation video that we put out, that I put that terrible cliffhanger on there for you guys. I'm working on the follow-up to that right now. And then I believe there's 2 more videos after the follow-up to that will be coming out for the Laurel Creek incident. And then I think we're at a stalemate when it comes to Laurel Creek. Laurel Creek incident is very strange. Just a reminder, that's when that couple who the wife emailed us, but this couple was horseback riding near these kind of older horse trails in the mountains, and they came across a Sasquatch, and it made a very strange sound that was sort of a cross between a bee and a rattlesnake's rattle. But it was like a deep, low buzz, as they would describe it.
Yep.
But you can go on.
So we're at kind of an impasse, and you have to bear with us tonight. We're exhausted. We've been out in the cold and the damp for 2 or 3 days at this point, so we're kind of wiped out. The Saturday night live stream that we did, we were basically setting up. We were going to be out during the daytime running. We're going to deploy some of the latest version of the long duration audio recorders, and these are our longer form recorders that we use that when we're going to put them static in an area and run them anywhere from like a week to a month. They've got a large backup power source, large memory capacity. We usually set them on recording schedules to usually kind of start, a little bit before dusk and I'll run until a little after dawn. And since we were going to be out there putting these up, because the core element of this witness report out there is the sound that this thing was making. So we were like, all right, well, we really need to kind of go hard on some like audio recorders and see if we can pick up anything up when we're not out there. So when we were going to be out there doing this, we just decided, hey, let's stick around afterwards. The weather is going to really preclude anybody else, the chances of anybody else being up there.
It was so
on that mountaintop.
Cold. Oh
And
my God.
We were going to run some audio related monitoring equipment. We had our parabolic dish out and with a recorder to be able to pick up sound. And then we had our infrasound monitoring system deployed to see what we would get. So, and then we decided, well, you know what, since we're carrying all this junk, because there's an old Forest Service road that goes near there that was basically frozen solid. So we were like, we've got an outdoor cart. Let's load up the cart with a bunch of stuff and drag it, which was the worst mistake I think we've ever made.
Oh my God. It was okay. Okay. It was okay on the drag in, because you have to go down this kind of rocky, muddy road, but the road was frozen. So the mud is pretty solid. So it wasn't that bad. So I drug the cart in while Joe had a bunch of stuff, but getting out of there was nightmarish. Oh my God.
We were already exhausted. We were freezing. And then we're dragging this damn cart with just all of this electronics, batteries, the Jackery portable, power unit, and just all of this stuff. It was nightmarish.
And we're just exhausted. And so Joe and I's nickname for each other is Bug. So I'm delirious. It's so late and we're trying to get this up the hill. He's dragging it and I'm behind. I'm holding a bunch of stuff and I'm pushing the back of the cart and I'm just yelling, "Bugs together strong," as we push this cart up this hill. But we got it back. We survived.
Oh, God, it was crazy. Just curious. Thank you for supporting the project, even though I myself sometimes question.
Just curious. Thought he had to start all over there for a minute. I marked his thing there. I guess it renewed.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we appreciate the support.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But anyway,
that live stream that was a lot of fun. That Saturday live stream was a lot of fun. It was so cold. I know somebody was like, "Oh, there were no steaks at the stakeout," but I did have my barbecue Vienna sausages, and it was so cold. And so they're Vienna sausages for you uncultured people. I'll just let you know. They're Vienna sausages in a can with a very thin barbecue sauce, but it's still a barbecue sauce. It was so cold out there. My barbecue sauce was frozen. I could not get my weenies out of the can because my sauce was frozen. That's how cold it was. It was terrible.
Our boy Stephen Taylor would know. What about utilizing an ATV? We don't have an ATV. We've actually got a running joke because people always suggest
I've got a Joe terrain vehicle.
Yeah, it's always on my back. And I can tell by the way my back feels now. But we always have a running joke about no e-bikes because we're usually climbing over or under trees. So even when we find old forest roads that are still passable, there's usually trees down on them, so we can't use them. So in some places, I always go, man, this would be perfect for like a side-by-side or some sort of all-terrain, like, a little cart. But it's, if we ever hit the lottery or end up getting a ton of like membership stuff. Maybe we'll look and see about doing that. But there's always like,
but we'd have to haul it in on a trailer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it'd have to be. So it would work in some areas, but a lot of areas it's not gonna do anything to it. So, but it was a cool little night, man. I literally and figuratively, it was freaking freezing. I pulled I can't remember if this was on camera or not. When I tried to eat the power bar is like frozen.
Oh, it shattered.
It shattered. And then I'm drinking an energy drink, and I'd had it warm in the car, and because obviously I don't want to drink like a cold can of something. And I set it on the ground, and I was doing some stuff for a while, and then I went to pick it up, and the damn thing's just like frozen. And I'm just going, I'm not doing that. So it was a couple weird things happened.
You know, if you're feeling a little cold right now, we can always get your blood pressure up to make you feel a little better. EDP says, "Hey Joe, how about an e-bike?"
Yeah, thanks about that. I went on a rant one time because Jesse was like riding me about these e-bikes, you know, going, maybe we do need an e-bike. And I was just like, you can't do an e-bike out here. You have to like pay the price the forest wants. Yeah,
you were in a state of madness.
I was in a state of madness. The forest wants pain. You've got to suffer in order for her to give up her secrets.
You know what it is? You've been hanging out with William Kennedy too much. The forest wants blood.
William Kennedy leaves the best freaking comments, man. Thank you, Okie. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. So
I'm marking stuff as I go along. If you want to.
Yeah, and it was cold, man. It was really cold. And what's crazy is that normally we're like much more. We move around a lot. We'll hike through, we'll set up tiny, we'll set up briefly in spots. And then unless we see or hear something, and then we go after it. We don't usually stay stationary for most of the night like that. And staying stationary really, it allowed the cold to really kind of set in at that point. So I
was asking how cold it was. We didn't have anything that was telling us the temperature, but when we finally got back to the truck, it was 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 14 degrees.
Thank you, Hawk. Down payment for one of those wagons with off-road tires or a deer cart. You can customize those if you can.
Deer cart's not a bad idea.
Deer cart's actually a really good idea. We've got a folding kind of like all-terrain cart. I'm doing a lot of quotation marks tonight. That we use.
It sounds like you're like speaking in code. Like, what is this all-terrain cart?
So crazy because when we came in, the sun was out. It was cold, but the sun was out. So we got a bunch of mud on the tires, and then the mud froze solid on the tires, and we're out there trying to chip it off. So we just had to leave with these big frozen mud rings on the tires and all that. But a deer cart's actually doing a good idea. So, and the Starlink held up well. The power drain was a lot higher, but that's just because of the cold weather.
Yeah. We've never used it in temperatures that low before.
We're still running.
That was a good test to run on how long it can run on that particular battery bank that we had it on, because we've never used it in temperatures that low before. So that was a pretty cool test to run. Well, I was surprised at the connectivity was so good, and then it was great. The connectivity was great. And, the power drain was a lot less than I actually anticipated.
Yeah. Somebody had suggested that we get like a giant battery bank. And I'm going, again, if that's all we're going to carry out there, that would be okay. But we have to carry, I've got like a smaller battery bank that's portable. I'm going to end up getting another one of those battery banks, and that'll let us run for a lot longer. But it held up well. And they had the sniffles. We had some jackball so we're there. It's in the teens. We're freaking freezing. We're on top of a mountain. And some jackball is just like, they're just sniffling too much. I can't watch this.
Somebody did made a comment on that. If you want to put
that's what Nuts Left just said. And they had the sniffles. So luckily our mod Lady Wolf saw it and hit it and just
not today.
Got him out. So yeah, man.
I had to put down my mic and like trying to blow my nose. It was so cold. It's like there's nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
And so what happened is so we're up there. We have heard in that area. We were setting up because we've seen some weird lights in that area too. We were setting up one night to go live, and we were going to run some like night vision cameras and some just different stuff to kind of watch for lights, for weird lights. And we were setting up to go live, and we start hearing this weird screaming, like a scream howl kind of thing. And we really need to come up with like a new terminology for some of these things, because every time we hear some of this stuff, these calls, these vocalizations, nothing really quite describes it. It's not a howl. It's not a scream. It's more like a roar, maybe. But anyway, we hear this. So we start trying to go live really quickly. It goes once, it roars again. And then 2 packs of coyotes start kind of answering it. And then it goes again, and then the coyotes are going back, and you can tell the difference because it's a singular roar and then multitudes of coyotes from 2 different locations kind of yelling back at it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of like a challenge and response type thing, but this thing was just kind of like letting the forest know that it's there. And then the coyotes, also being predators, were kind of just, also kind of challenging it back from a safe distance, mind you.
But we've recorded a similar exchange in the past.
Yeah, we were
in that exact area. Before we were doing a members live stream one night from that area because we actually used that open field. So we think that there was probably a house, cabin up there at some point in time, and that open field was probably used for agricultural purposes, whether it be growing food or, if that was where the home site was. We'll find out in the spring when the flowers start popping up where the house was. But we actually have used that area before to do some sky watching. We'll take our psionics up there and we broadcast the image from the psionics camera, which is a full color night vision camera, and it really grabs every bit of the light. That's what we filmed our Brown Mountain Lights footage with, was a psionics camera. We'll take that up there for the members exclusive live streams, and we'll do some sky watching up there, and you can actually see what we see on the camera from our monitor up there because it's such an open area up there on top of the mountain. But we were up there doing some sky watching one night, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose in those woods. Luckily we had the camera running for that one too, but it was a similar exchange to what we experienced on Saturday night. Yeah.
So we went up and we picked a good location. We set our long duration audio recorders. We picked a good area with not a lot of obstructions in order to orient our parabolic dish and audio recorder towards where the calls had come from the previous time. And we were in a good location to run the infrasound detection equipment. And we basically just started rolling, and it was really, really quiet for a while. So much so, I was just going, these poor people that tuned in, it's pretty freaking boring. And then we saw an orange orb over to our right, and we ran over and we were going, and I was just going, man, I can't believe it. Every time we come out here, we get set up for sky watching, we hear a bunch of calls. We get set up with audio recorders. We start seeing lights. So we just saw the light once, and then we never saw it again. But then after that, we started having strange howls and calls and vocalizations come from 2 different sides of us. And just previously like that before, 2 weird roars, one from either side, and then coyotes answering it in the distance. And it's cool that the coyotes sound off like that, because when you hear those vocalizations right next to a coyote, you can definitely tell the difference. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no mistaking it. You can't go, oh, those roars were coyotes, because you're going, that's a coyote right there. These are not coyotes. So luckily we were able to, we had some lav mics running into the phone that we were streaming from, and we were able to pull the lav mics and then basically have a much more sensitive audio recorder, and people were able to hear it. So people were able to hear what we were hearing at that point. But what's even weirder is where Booberry's talking about the orbs.
Yeah, so that is a hot topic right now in the chat. I've got a lot of stuff marked about those orbs or lights, or everybody thought they were bugs at first, but it was well below freezing.
Real quick, Jesse's Drone Adventures, thank you for that. Ever thought about using drones on your forest excursions, at least in the forest where there aren't any restrictions? We have a drone that a channel member actually gifted us that we have used some, but we don't have a commercial.
I don't have an FAA 107 license, so I can't use any of my drone footage on the channel. That is on my short list of things that I have to take care of in the next month or 2.
And generally a lot of the areas we're in the woods, so the tree cover is too thick to really get a good idea of what's on the ground, but it would come in handy. So we're definitely looking at trying to get that and actually be able to use it. Chime on Pam, what about those battery powered heated vests? A couple people mentioned that last night.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they apparently come out with some good ones. So
I always get nervous about those because I hear about them catching on fire, and I
would have been okay to be on fire that night. That would have actually been a welcome
would have
relief.
accepted it.
Curtis Whitaker, as always, thank you every week,
Curtis.
Curtis. Every week, Curtis. Thank you so much. So we were streaming, and we're kind of looking at the chat some because we're both operating equipment. I'm doing the infrasound, and Jesse's back and forth with the parabolic dish. But we see that people are talking about insects flying around us.
And I am just like constantly going, it's freezing. There are no insects because we don't see insects flying around.
We didn't see anything around us. We didn't see anything around us at all. And we didn't know what people were talking about. And I didn't know like what anybody was talking about. I'm going, what are they talking about? Bugs around us. There's no bugs around us. We saw nothing in the slightest on that. We saw nothing at all. And then when we got out like the next day and we were leaving to go to our other spot, when we got down off that mountain, we got some signal. We just kind of checked the video, just see how the quality was on it, how the Starlink do. And we saw all those little balls of light flying around us, and we flipped out. We watched one.
Because I was like, okay, that's what they were talking about.
One comes out, and it's like right here. It's like 2 feet from me.
Yeah.
And it's flashing red and green, and it spins around and then kind of hovers for a second and then darts off. And I'm going, why? How did we not see that? I mean, it's so obvious for like at least, I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes on the live stream.
So I think might have been Booberry on here. Got the timestamps from 2610 to 3013 timestamp for that video.
Was it only that long? Because I saw it for maybe, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what the timestamp he gave me. So that's not definitive word of God. That's word of the Booberry. I mean, they take it with a grain of Booberry salt. So,
so
that's.
But it was wild. So I don't know. We didn't know what people were talking about. So we didn't really do anything. I don't know what we could have done anyway because we weren't seeing them. They were only showing up on camera. Little weird lights, man. But I see what people were talking about. But the fact that the one especially was like flashing different colors and it's tiny and it's like right there. And I'm just going, everybody knows what an insect looks like on a camera, especially if you watch our videos when we're out in the summertime and we got a light going, you can see bugs flying around everywhere.
And also Enzo Cyril says, to be fair, one of those I saw was a reflection of Jess's headlamp, but not all of them. So you are going to have light artifacts that occur.
You'll have lens flare and stuff
lens flare, light artifacts that are going to occur when you have flashlights. Any of our indicator lights on some of our stuff may cause artifacts, headlamps, any of that. So be aware of that as well. But not all of them were light artifacts because we're familiar with what those look like.
Yeah. And what was crazy is that after that light happened, that's when everything started to kind of cut loose. And we started getting calls from different directions. However, out of the two directions we were getting these weird like vocalizations, our parabolic was not pointed at either one of them, even though that's where we've heard them at in the past. So we had to kind of reorient the parabolic. And it was just weird. It was a weird vocalization type thing. And then very distinct coyote sound. So I don't know what. We did hear a sound right as we were ending the stream, but we're pretty sure that was a barred owl that was right on the edge of hearing. And it sounded nothing like the other. That was
the last thing we were hearing.
But we were hearing like two roars and JD said almost like a chatter, like a gruff kind of chattering and all of that. It was really wild. So
Power Band Sasquatch says bug orbs.
Bug orbs.
What if it was the ghosts of bugs?
I don't know. It was bizarre. Blueberry had also asked anything from the infrasound data collection. I haven't had a chance to go through and look at the logs yet on it because we were right back out into another investigation. But when we got the two vocalizations, I was having minor spikes on the infrasound monitor. Now, keep in mind that I can believe the animal kingdom uses infrasound as a way to communicate with each other, to warn off same species predators, everything like that. Tigers use it in order to, because tigers have a large hunting ground, basically a large hunting range, and they don't want to run into another tiger. So they emit infrasound to tell other tigers, I'm here, you stay over there. So when we were hearing those calls, it was two somethings calling to each other. And for example, when a tiger does a growl or a call, sometimes there'll be an audible frequency to it, the sounds you can hear, and then an accompanying sub 20 hertz frequency as well that you don't hear, but it's still being transmitted. So when I saw that, I was going, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. So I don't know, but I mean, again, that's a one-off so far.
I don't think we have ever deployed the infrasound detection equipment on a video, have we?
Nope.
Yeah, so we've had that for a while now. We've been experimenting with it a good bit. I think we took it to a few conferences and had it on the table. But I think that was the first time that we actually deployed it for the public to see. So, but we've had it for a couple of years now. But it's interesting to take it in these different areas and see what kind of results we get.
Well, and then here's some backup data for you as well. That coyote calls. There's no science saying that coyotes emit infrasound, and we've never picked up infrasound when we've been around coyotes calling. But whatever these other two things were, did seem like they were emitting some infrasound at that point. So that kind of rules out if anybody ever, because a lot of people want to use coyotes to explain every weird sound you hear out in the woods, and that kind of like precludes it being coyotes at that point. So. Anyway, chat's freaking flying.
I know. I'm marking as I go here so you can grab those.
And then while we're on the subject, guys, make sure you're still subscribed to us. If you were subscribed once upon a time, we had some people get unsubscribed with the unpleasantness.
The unpleasantness.
Valhalla says, were you guys satisfied with the results of that night? Yeah, ish. I wish that the calls had come from the normal area and the parabolic would have been more effective. So I don't know. The jury's still out. We've got to see what we got on the long duration, because the long duration audio recorders are running right this second. They started up right before dusk tonight, and they'll run until after dawn tomorrow.
Henry, you're not blocked. I don't know what this is. So did I get blocked? Henry, you are not blocked.
Henry, we're seeing you. So you are not blocked, my friend.
I'm trying to catch up with the chat. I just saw that just now.
And then Sploot, somebody said that you guys were having looping.
Several people during the entire live stream, several people reported that their video started looping. They had to restart and go back into it. When we watched over the video, when we got back, there was no looping in the live stream or the video. So it seemed like it was happening to different individuals at different times.
Very bizarre. Very, 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 very bizarre. So, all right, let's see. Looking to see what else we got here. We should try tree knocks, will-o'-the-wisps, all sorts of stuff. Give us a like if it wouldn't kill you. But anyway, so yeah, it was an interesting night. It was a very, very, very interesting night. We were not, and I still don't know what the answer is for those little lights. We've got to sit and watch it and kind of examine it a little bit closer. I know it wasn't insects. The ones we saw were not like halos.
A lot of people had the looping. Everybody's reporting here that they have looping.
Our buddy Hawk, have you ever seen those rules for the Appalachian about sounds in the mountains? Cracks me up because cryptid researchers follow those. Lol. No, what are you talking about as far as rules? Are you talking about not whistling and don't whistle, and if you hear something call your name from the woods, don't respond?
I think that some of this stuff, I know the whistling is a part of an older bit of folklore, but there are some things I think that came out of the Appalachian TikTok craze and the Appalachian skinwalker craze. That TikTok spurned on. I think that some of that kind of came from that. I don't know if there's a formalized rule list about what you do, but we're not really great at following rules.
Yeah. So Enzo had asked, do any canine species have infrasound? I think generally in order to use infrasound, you're usually communicating with other members of your species, and dogs, I think, can hear between like 40 hertz and something insanely high, like 60,000 hertz, 70,000 hertz, something like that.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, I've never seen any data on any canines being able to use infrasound. So if those infrasound waves were related to the roars and the other vocalizations we're hearing, that's interesting. That rules a naysayer going, well, those were just weird coyotes echoing or something like that. So
yeah, a lot of people are making reference to the events of last night.
We'll think about that. So
I got some things marked on there,
Okay.
but a lot of people are making reference to the events of last night as well.
Pork chop PCX. If you're looking for infrasound, you should scan for EMF2. EMF sensitivity and infrasound sensitivity. Actually, the physical symptoms have some crossover. The EMF and RF sensitivity symptoms are generally a lot more extreme. That's why I think that's kind of like maybe where we should be looking at as far as the zapping effect that people report. But again, we were looking for sound on this one. We went in geared up for sound. So when we go back up in there, next time we might try to run something looking for any sort of disturbances on the electromagnetic range. It's just that you can only carry like so much up there. And as it was, we carried too damn much. So let's see what else.
So Hans Baraccio says things like not whistling, closing your blinds at night. You close your blinds at night so the peeper from down the road doesn't see you in your nightgown. That's what Granny would always say.
Oh, Lord. Let's see what else you got here. Let's see. Coltrane, have you ever replayed the howls and calls you collect to try to get reaction or an orb? We don't really do a lot of call blasting. We don't really do a lot of like call and response type stuff. I operate with the assumption that obviously these entities, these creatures, whatever you want to call them, are obviously pretty good at remaining undetected since nobody's really ever officially proven them before. And I always assume they know we're out there, whether we're being quiet, being loud, no lights, whatever. So I always operate under the assumption that they would be able to recognize a false call, even if it was electronically transmitted. Whether that's real or not, whether that's the right assumption or not, I don't know. I know people have had luck with call and response, but I just don't ever, I always think that, it's just two groups of Bigfoot people out calling to each other. So we generally don't do any sort of calling. We like it to happen like organically at that point. So, but we might actually, we've talked about some unique kind of
and I know somebody asked about tree knocking. I think I put it in one video one time. Yeah. Anytime I try to do a tree knocking, it is a absolute disaster. So. I'm terrible at selecting proper sticks. So, and also you don't know what you're communicating when you're doing that, or when you're trying to do these calls, you don't have any idea what you're communicating by doing that, or if you're just communicating nonsense to them, So,
a lot of people asking about, do you still have a line on Gorilla P? No, I don't have a line on Gorilla P. I have not been able to find one.
Trying to get that line.
And I still don't think that Sasquatch, regardless of how it physically looks, is a large gorilla or a large monkey in the woods. But at the same token, it obviously, whatever it is, has very highly refined senses. So I'm always just like, introduce the smell of like a new species out there, another large animal, and see what it does. Does it want to come in and like fight it? Does it just get curious or whatever? So we've deployed Sasquatch pheromone chips a handful of times. You know what I'm saying? We're running out. We don't really have very many left.
And wolf lore when we were doing Dogman stuff. So we have a problem with unforeseen weather systems moving in. Every time we try to do scent experiments, we end up getting weather that wasn't supposed to happen that comes in. And it's everything from like a prolonged light rain to just getting buckets of rain dumped on us. Yeah. Turdog has an interesting one here. No need for bait, blasting, or tree knocks. Jessie is the attractant, and all the woodland paranormal stuff comes when she locks in on them.
I'm thinking you might not be far off from there at that point. Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's getting worse the more I go on with this contact experiment project, because I'm exploring more ways to kind of open up that line of communication. I think as soon as I put that light on the lighthouse, that maybe the ships are coming ashore,
Ghetto Yeti. Boy, Ghetto. Have you looked for the 1.6 gigahertz signal at the new site in Laurel Creek? Not yet. We keep in mind still, we were hitting Laurel Creek heavy and hard until the developments happened with the witnesses that originally contacted us on this. So we have had to, and then there's been some other really weird things that have happened up there that we're not quite sure. I don't really know what the hell's going on up there. I mean, on its surface, it's a Bigfoot encounter, but it's a weird Bigfoot encounter given the noise that it made and the effect that it had on the horses. There's other stuff going on up there up too. So we have been up until Saturday night very agile and light going up there, just so we're not weighed down with a bunch of stuff. And even going up Saturday, I was going, I'm really uncomfortable because we can't run if anything happens. I was like, I'm not leaving all this stuff. We're here no matter what. So
I think as soon as we got everything set up before we went live, you were like, well, we're not going anywhere. We're not running anywhere.
So we
Bigfoot Dwarf has an interesting one here.
Let me
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we actually have some equipment that really hasn't been shown on a video as of yet that is more sensitive and can pick up weaker signals than my handheld spectrum analyzers that I have. I've got a collection of those that I think we're going to try to deploy up there, but it's a power hog. It's bulky, but yeah, we're going to get up there and see if we try to catch that 1.6 gigahertz signal anywhere up there. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know. All right. So Bigfoot Dwarf said the Knox can piss off the trees and the elementals
in it. Exactly.
I think that's going to be our new excuse for why we don't do tree knocking.
We don't want to tick off the dryads. So, all right, let's see what else we've got here. And let me get back on here. I just saw Henry getting blocked. No, Henry, you're not blocked in case you didn't hear about it before, because otherwise I would not be able to see your comments.
I think that was what I read earlier.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I just came across it. So we are looking into a new area that you haven't seen really any video on at all at this point, because we are having a very heavy tempo of field investigations right now, because we got a lot going on. And if you can't tell by how tired we look right now, there's a lot going on. So generally what happens is we have activity, it slows down, and then Jesse's able to really get in and like edit videos together, and get videos out to you all. Right now, it's been nonstop. Every free moment we can get, we're out in a couple of locations because there's a lot going on. So the new area that we are going into, which we don't even have a name for yet.
Yeah.
We learned our lesson with the poor fellow who reported the Sasquatch sighting in South Carolina, and then his favorite hunting spot got overwhelmed with people.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't use the real names. We either use local terms for it or just flat out like make up a name to identify a place.
Code names.
Like Dogman Lake ain't really called Dogman Lake on the map, just in case anybody knows. That's what we called it. We called it Dogman Lake.
It's so easy to find a research area. Did you know there's a Dogman Lake down the road?
So we don't really even have a name for this new place yet. And I've
got a couple in the contending right now, but nothing is quite right. We're still trying to work on that. But so it's hard for us to talk about it, and so what we're referring to with it.
Yeah. So let's just call it the new area, the new place.
That's fine.
The new place, the new area and we have been out there. We had a witness report from, how long ago was it? Because I couldn't remember when you told me. Over 6 months. Has it been a year since we had?
It's been a while.
Yeah. So we had a guy that was out there fishing. He goes out there because it's very secluded. It's very remote. There's nobody that really goes out there. And something was screaming at this guy from the shoreline and started throwing rocks and sticks at him. He got flipped out and left. And then when Jesse met him and he found out what she does, he shared this story with her. So we had another witness report who got in touch with us, and we realized it was the same area. This past hunting season, he's in there hunting. He got chased out by like a tall, dark figure. Chased him aggressive, chased him out of the woods. So we went back in there to look, and we've been finding some really weird stuff. And we had a very weird turn of events last night when we were out there. So yeah,
very unexpected, very
unexpected.
disturbing.
We're still kind of trying to process everything. And we are trying to figure out what's going on down there. I'm sure if you saw the stream we did last night, you could tell that we were kind of worried and freaked out and a little stressed. So yeah, I don't know, guys. It's a I don't know what to say about that area right now, because I don't really know what's going on out there right now. And it's on the surface so crazy. We seem like crazy people trying to explain it.
And I think when we have a members Discord where everybody can have kind of like a private conversation about what's happening, kind of discuss what's going on. We did a members exclusive kind of rundown of what occurred last night, as soon as we got to a safe area. So that's what everybody's referring to. If you're not aware of it, we're trying to be as ambiguous as possible.
I'm not trying to be, and I'm also trying not to be ambiguous, but we were talking to our friend Kyle from Encrypted Connections earlier about it. And I was trying to give him a rundown, and I just kept stopping going, I sound like a crazy person. I sound like every overly convoluted government conspiracy Bigfoot story you've ever heard that you just went, well, this is interesting, I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Or any really crazy, like, we ain't afraid of the woo. This is all out there for me. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's weird. So I don't really know how to present it publicly to people and talk about it at this point without it just making us
sound like
we need more data, and we need a better picture of what's going on out there, I think. So
we'll be going back.
we've heard, let's break it down for the people that don't know anything about it at all. 2 witness reports in this area. We didn't even know this area was there. We'd never heard of it before. Locals also don't really seem to even know that this area is there. It's big. Lots of lakes in the area, so there's lots of peninsulas that go out on the lakes. There are something is going through the woods through there, leaving a lot of weird symbols.
Definite interaction with the environment around it, and manipulation of the environment around it.
Lots of weird things in the trees. At first, we were thinking it was people until we started finding very large, like 300-pound rocks that have been pulled off the ground and then moved around. And I'm going, okay, it's obviously somebody like stacking stuff and like arranging stuff out here. These rocks are big. They're good sized rocks. We'll find where they've been pulled out of the ground and stacked on each other. And then we'll find other parts of the ground that are the leaves and the pine needles and the sticks and everything like that. General like forest debris is pushed down in the ground as if something really heavy was there. And then like a couple dozen yards away, you'll find the rock that matches up with that. That rock was there and then was moved again. We were able to get the side of one of these rocks up, and it's resting on like fresh dead leaves, but it hasn't been there a while. Something is moving these very heavy rocks back through there. When we went out yesterday, right as soon as we got out of the truck, we drove in as far as we could, and then we were getting out to go on foot. The ground's very hard there because it's been so cold. But the temperature got up over 40 during the daytime yesterday, and the ants just like erupted back out everywhere. So there was an ant hill. Something had stepped in an ant hill, and we got a pretty good photo of a possible Sasquatch print.
And video, yeah.
Because it was soft. It's not going to leave a track anywhere else because the ground's so hard, but it looks like it stepped in this ant hill. And the ants were still scurrying around trying to fix it. They were agitated. You could tell it had happened fairly recently. So that's the rocks being moved, the size of them, and then the print we found is making us think it's Sasquatch activity. And we've heard some extremely interesting vocalizations. And we heard some extremely interesting vocalizations last night along with a gunshot, a high caliber rifle shot, followed by a crazy whale, like a screaming whale, not a whale in the ocean. I wouldn't go back if we ran into a whale out there. I'd be done. You know what I'm saying? I got fear of whales. I saw Jaws when I was a kid. Whale, sharks, lake monsters, don't mess with them.
I've got a Captain Ahab thing about me. I don't know if I'd have some sort of like triggered response from seeing a whale.
Sharpen up a tree branch and try to go after it. But we were hearing some weird vocalizations, and then we heard a rifle shot come from the same area, followed by a long like cry. And we're still trying to piece together what happened. I don't know. I mean, obviously we didn't see it, but we heard it. We recorded it.
So everything is on.
We have the cameras going, and then there was some other very wooey type stuff going on out there. We're finding bits of quartz, like when I say bits, like big rocks of quartz that are all in the shape of triangles or pyramids that are placed throughout there. They're rammed into broken tree stumps. They're on tops of like down trees. It's very weird. Jesse found one that had gotten on the ground and through the seasons had kind of sunk into the ground a little bit, and she was trying to dig it out and she cut herself. And Jesse
you're sharing this part.
Yeah, Jesse has been, we're not going to get all into it, but Jesse has been really kind of in tune with this area so far. So I've just been telling her, follow your instincts, follow your instincts. If your instinct is telling you to do something, follow it. Don't second guess yourself, follow your gut. She cuts herself, and then I walk up and she's dabbing blood on this like piece of white quartz. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, I don't know. I felt like I'm just trying to connect with the land. You told me to follow my instincts. And
you did tell me to follow my instincts.
And then I'm just going, all right, maybe we shouldn't follow your instincts here. So it's just been a freak show out there. It went from being really unique Bigfoot stuff to kind of weird last night. It was very weird last night. That rifle shot, because we didn't see it happen on the other side of the lake, but it was close, and we were able to record it. But it sounded like there was a group of something making vocalizations, and then someone shot something, and then the other something scattered into the woods again at a distance. We don't know what to think. I don't know what's going on out there. It wasn't anyone out coon hunting with dogs. It wasn't anyone hunting coyotes. These weren't coyote calls. It was a single shot followed by a long piercing kind of cry. And it was just weird. So, and there were some other things that occurred. Other weird stuff happening out there, but
we won't get into just yet. And again, a lot of this sounds insane. So we're not sure how to approach it. We are going back, but we're not sure how to approach it or present it. But as soon as we got to a safe location last night, we jumped on and we did a live stream for the members and kind of just ran through what happened. And then we played some of that raw audio for them to check out. That's what they're talking about in the chat, that it sounded like a high caliber rifle.
It was weird. So I don't know. I don't know what we kind of got caught off guard by all of it last night.
I feel like I'm going to blame William Kennedy for me doing the blood thing, because I swear.
No, because he always does that. They love blood.
He does that. He's put me in this position. So
it is, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird out there. It's if you had a Helmet Holler bingo card, you'd be checking every box. There's tons of quartz everywhere. There's weirdly shaped quartz that looks like it's been shaped. Okay. The pyramids, the triangle shaped pieces of quartz, little pieces of quartz that look like tombstones. And it's like all over the place on top of leaves, pine needles. It's been placed there. It's not there.
And naturally. It's been worked into these shapes.
There is remnants of old homesteads out there from where people lived on this property until the property was taken and made public land. But then yet it's been gated off and allowed to rot. There's water.
There's a lot of shocking parallels to what we've discovered in our investigations of the LBL. Yeah. Like a lot of parallels between the two.
But we are still we just got kind of thrown for a loop last night. Yeah. And we are still trying to, and I know I sound vague as hell, but we're still trying to process it and figure out how we even want to approach it. And after we do approach it, how do we present this to people without sounding crazy? Because quite honestly, trying to explain it to people, you guys just got the condensed version. Trying to explain the full version, I felt like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the board, with the threads and everything. You got your crazy person board, your conspiracy board. That's how I felt like trying to explain it. And
so Pork Chop Express says, seeing Joe on stage 1 hypothermia and level 10 aluminum foil hat mode is just another good reason to join the channel membership, y'all.
Speaking of which, thank you for the support, Larry. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you. So, and Grizz, who is in a position to know such things, unless you have a high speaker, you'll never be able to reproduce the calls at the level that would be produced by a live creature. That's where I'm always at. I think that some of these like handheld call blasters might work for normal animals in some cases, but we're obviously not dealing with normal animals out there. And I know that people have had supposed luck call blasting themselves. And I don't know. It's just, we do weirder stuff. We might eventually kind of get into something like that, but.
Ghetto Yeti goes, Joe was in full Behold a Pale Horse mode last night. We're going to get him into the woo if it kills us. I think you're in it. You better start believing in the woo because you're in it.
Here's the deal. You guys have seen my evolution just even since we started this channel. Yeah. I'm open to a lot weirder stuff than I used to be, but there's still a limit, man. Okay. There's still a limit because and our buddy Hawk, I'm sure he's still on here. He was kind of trying to like, through some comments and some messages, coaching me through it, going, listen, man, this stuff goes on, and I'm just going, I know that it goes on. But at the same token, trying to explain it to people, what we're experiencing, I don't know how we can do that effectively without sounding like crazy people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The only thing to do is to be out there and keep running as many cameras as possible to try to capture as much stuff and then just go here. This is what happened. You guys decide what happened. Let's not try to, I don't want to try to like give anyone a narrative that we've figured out. I'd almost rather just have a bunch of video and audio and then present it and go draw your own conclusions and tell me what you think is happening. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's some people that just go, these are just coyotes shaking my head. You guys shaking my head.
Hog says the woo is true.
The woo is true. All right. The Sensible Bigfoot Project. Welcome to the channel. Do you think a person's level of fear can change their perception of the experience? Obviously, it can change the perception, but I think it can also change the intensity and basically overall nature of the experience as well.
And possibly that fear could feed into what is happening around you as well.
And it's the other thing too is that we don't edit our investigation videos to keep out the fact that we're there in the moment and we have emotional responses to stuff. If nothing else, excitement. We love doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? When stuff gets weird, that's what we're there for, and we get excited. This is pretty much what we live for at this point. So I think even like fear and stuff like that as well. Yeah, if these things are tied into, there's a big thing right now saying that like UAPs and UFOs, there's something to do with like human consciousness. There's some sort of like connection to consciousness, and there's a spiritual component to it. And if that's the case, I think that's probably pretty much true for a lot of this stuff. So I do think that, and that's part of the reason too, that we go out with just 2 people. You feel a lot more comfortable when you're in a large group of people. But when there's just 2 of us out there and we're worried for ourselves and we're worried for each other and there's no help coming and we're just on our own, that I think that emotional intensity and that anxiety, I think that ramps stuff up.
Yeah. So. One good thing about what we do is, yes, when you're in a situation, you are hyped up, your adrenaline's going. You may misremember how things happen. You may, the time might seem a little skewed. Timelines might be skewed, distances, everything like that. One good thing about what we do is we record everything we do. We have multiple cameras running, so we always have a record of what happens while we're out in the woods and while we're out doing these investigations. So in the event that, say, our memory does not serve us properly due to our fear response, our adrenaline pumping, something like that, we always have video. We always have audio.
We actually sold off some of our Bowie collection. We sold some old Western W49 Bowies and took the money and threw it towards an upgraded chest cam for me because the old GoPros, the GoPro Hero 8s, we needed to replace the main cam, which we went ahead and did. And then I didn't want to wait on this. So we went ahead and sold some stuff off and replaced the chest cam so we can have a better chest cam option going right now.
Yeah.
And that was coming in handy.
Because that's a backup. That chest cam is always running on Joe.
And last night, I was literally changing camera batteries on the run last night. We were going down the trail at a clip and my main camera battery was going out. So I was trying to fumble and get those done. We didn't want to stop and do it. So I was just like, we're gonna have to run chest cam for a while because I gotta change these out on the move. And this thing is like awesome so far. So it's just so crazy.
It's really serving us well, especially.
I gotta figure out the settings on it to get a little bit better image quality, but man, it's gonna be we're gonna be able to really the GoPros we were using would like even in cold weather, just like malfunction and we'd lose.
We were
footage.
a lot of generations behind. We were running GoPro Hero 8s. I think they're on 13
now. But this one has got better low light capabilities. It's got all sorts of cool stuff. So we're really looking forward to kind of having that because now the main camera's down for whatever reason. We got a backup. It's awesome. So we have a reliable backup. So.
And, you know, ever since that incident we had in North Georgia many years ago when we first started doing this project where we sat down to eat a hot dog. It's always when you sit down to eat a hot dog, isn't it?
It's always when you want to eat a hot dog.
It's always when you're just trying to get a little hot dog break.
Hot dog in me, man.
You just want a hot dog break. We sat down to eat a hot dog. We were cooking hot dogs on a fire. We had our camp set up and everything. And we turned off our cameras. And we only had one little camera at that point, and we had to recharge the batteries. But we turned it off. We're like, all right, hot dog break, recharge the batteries. As soon as we did that, we're sitting there, we're settled in for a moment.
Craziest audio we've ever heard.
Craziest sound we've ever heard in the forest ever, and we missed it. So as a result of that, we learned a lesson from that.
Always be recording.
ABR.
Always be recording.
Always be
have recording. Something going at all times, no matter what.
Because we can tell that story all day long. I can describe the sound to you, but that doesn't mean jack because I don't have the audio. It means nothing because I don't have the audio to play for you. So it means nothing. So always be recording.
That was the most frustrating damn thing that ever happened to us. We were using a no-name, just Chinese camcorder. We got it because it had night vision capabilities that we had gotten off Amazon warehouse. We had a handful of crappy batteries with it that would just not last long. And we were out of batteries. So we decided to go ahead and charge batteries and eat. And that sound started up. We thought it was an ambulance at first because it was like rising and falling. And it was just, it wouldn't stop. It didn't stop to take a breath. It's like a freaking banshee or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were like going, is that an ambulance? And then we're like, how's somebody going to get an ambulance up here? We had to like hike in 10 miles on foot. There's no roads. And we're scrambling to get a battery with a little bit of charge in to get the camera running to record it. And we clicked the battery in. And as I opened the viewer to get the camera running, sound cuts off. Like something was just standing there watching us going, and they're ready, cut it. So since then we have been, if we ever sound obsessive on trying to keep the equipment running, it's because of that. So
I've got some stuff marked towards the bottom there if you want to head down
people
there.
Trying to come up with names for the new place. Because I'm insanely behind on the chat.
Yeah, so you're fine.
Except that Joe Crows taste nasty. I know. I like I said, I mean, again, at the end of the day, I started off with this as a flesh and blood Bigfoot guy, and I didn't really give anything credence to anything else. There may or may not have been aliens and UFOs. I just didn't really find it interesting, so I didn't care. Paranormal stuff, I didn't really care about. I didn't care about any of this other like miscellaneous paranormal or cryptid stuff. And it's been a painful what am I looking for? A painful transformation on my behalf.
Any kind of evolution requires some soul searching to go.
And Sensible Bigfoot Project, I took that down. Hawk vouches for you, so his word carries a lot of weight. He had asked.
You sound very sensible.
You sound sensible. I had asked where we were. We're in the Southern Appalachian region. We're down in the Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
We usually operate in the Carolinas, North Georgia, Eastern Tennessee. That kind of general region is where we focus most of our time on, just because it's an easy travel for us, and we're able to spend more time actually out in the field at that point. Anyway, so PCX, thank you for continuing to support us there, my friend. We greatly appreciate it.
Old Henry has a knife check request.
We're carrying cold steel espadas. I've got a large espada.
These are the tactical espadas.
These are the tactical
These
espadas.
are not the pretty polished ones we've got.
That Moondog gave us, so but these are the tactical espadas.
So I have a cold steel espada too, but mine is the medium size, and it's got the gray scales on it. But yeah, espadas. It's a Spanish style of a knife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spanish navaja.
Spanish navaja.
A folding fighting knife that the Spanish came up with. Darth Brandon, I want to get into Bigfoot hunting. Any advice for noobs? Yeah, actually. Do your own thing. Figure out something that you're good at and roll with that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to cast footprints, don't cast footprints. We don't cast footprints. I don't care if another footprint ever gets cast my entire life. We've got hundreds, if not thousands of them, and it hasn't changed anything.
Yeah.
So figure out how you want to approach it. And if somebody's telling you you're doing it wrong, ask them how many Bigfoots they have in a cage or whatever. And if the answer is 0, then just go, shut up. I'm going to do what I want to do, and do what you want to do for it. If you want to sit in the middle of a field, play a flute, see if something comes in and sits down and talks to you that's 7 feet tall and hairy, knock yourself out. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go bang on trees with a stick, knock yourself out. Do whatever you want to do. Follow your own theories on this stuff, because so far, all of us are batting pretty low averages on trying to prove any of this stuff. So just be careful, be safe, push yourself, but don't push yourself into dangerous situations. Yep. Safety is always third. I was getting ready to realize that how hypocritical it would be for me to lecture somebody on safety at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
about that.
Yeah. So.
That's it. They say Icarus flew too close to the sun. Not me. I would have been fine.
I would have been fine.
I know how to fly next to the sun.
Pork chop, thank you. Oh, just like I have to tell my wife, I try and maintain as long as I can.
Do we have a bell or something?
We need special effects when we're doing these. Like I told you, Joe and Ron from Wild and Weird West Virginia have got like crazy special effects for stuff like this. I feel a little outclassed in the live stream.
Well, I guess I'll get to work on those special effects now.
You're just lagging behind. Here, so, all right, let's see what else.
We just need a bell. I think just a bell. Let's go old school. You don't need flashes.
Oh boy, not today. Got any of the messages? The quantum chip Willow went live and broke an encryption algorithm that would take our best supercomputer 10 septillion years in. The quantum. I'm assuming you're talking about the quantum computer that they launched, that they said pretty much proves parallel dimensions, like alternative dimensions and all of that, because they believe that the way it's computing, the computing power of this quantum computer believes that it's leveraging computing power from duplicate computers and other dimensions for it. It's really deep stuff. I have not gotten your messages, man. Facebook Messenger is always a pain, but I'll see if I can pull them up tonight, buddy.
Hawk said that he sent you a PM.
Cool. I'll go through and try to. And we're insanely behind on emails too, guys.
You know that phrase all too well, don't you?
You know that phrase all too well. We are going to try to go through and get caught up eventually, man. We're going to get caught up eventually.
We say that.
Yeah.
We're doing my best.
Doing our best.
Too busy cutting myself and putting my blood all over the woods.
I know. Did you? And you've got to at least release that little clip, because I'm filming. She's cut herself, and I'm going, all right, let's take out a bandage. Let's get it clean. And it's not a major cut. It's just something's chipping.
It was akin to a paper cut. Yeah.
Something's like chipping the.
I'm not out there, going predator and
something's chipping the quartz into weird little shapes. I wish I had that one, but I think it's still in the car that looks like a little tombstone.
The tombstone is on the bottom shelf in the living room next to the African revenge fetish.
Of course it is. So something's shaping this quartz in there. So a lot of them have really sharp edges where it's been shaped, almost like flint napping. It looks like something that's pretty deft at it is shaping it in, and she cut herself on it. Just this little cut, but it was bleeding pretty good. And when she was putting blood on it, she's just dabbing blood on this piece of quartz. And I walk up and I'm just like, I think if I remember correctly, because I'm filming, I just go, oh, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You told me to follow my instincts. Don't follow them this closely. Have a little barrier up. But you did a great job on the live.
You know, I have 2 modes. 0 and 60. So there you go.
You guys did a great job on the live. Loved all the technology. Can't wait to see part 2 and any other parts, hopefully soon. Yeah, generally you guys see the exciting stuff, us just going through the woods, trying to follow stuff. You don't really see the data collection portion of it just because it's boring.
It can get a little mundane.
It's a little mundane. You don't want to watch that for like an hour. You don't want to watch like the data collection portion of it. You know what I'm saying? When we're out looking at instrumentation, because a lot of times
I could do double duty where we have the data collection portion of it, and then I'll give reviews on processed meat products found in a can.
Yes, indeed. So on trucker snacks.
Trucker snacks.
But they
that was fun though. I enjoyed showing you guys that. We enjoyed showing you guys that. I think that was kind of a nice little bit of variety too, that you guys see that. Because I know a lot of people are like, my God, these guys get stuff all the time. All they do is run through the woods and they get crazy stuff.
You don't see all of
There's mundane bits of it too.
You don't see me trying to like field audio recorders and having problems with them. You guys don't see us trying to take like instrumentation readings and just not getting anything, you know.
Although weird stuff did happen on the live stream.
But. Yeah, although weird stuff did happen. But that's what's crazy is as far as live streams go, we've got a pretty good track record of stuff going. And that's why I was kind of like taken aback when we started the live stream Saturday, because it was quiet. Nothing was happening. And I'm going, we broke our streak. And then we saw the light. And then I'm going, great, that's going to be it, because we didn't get it on camera. And then the little orb balls or whatever they were started flying around. And then we got the vocalization.
I honestly think this feeds into our working theory right now that maybe the collective unconscious of the viewership kind of contributes to kind of whipping that up too. You know?
Yeah. It's having it's weird. If you want to call it just the phenomenon, and it's got different aspects of it. It expresses itself in different ways. But the phenomenon, if it is that, if it's one singular thing, seems like it doesn't like having a lot of people there on scene. And if you, sometimes even us taking like an extra person with us throws the dynamic off and nothing happens. We've taken our friend Katie out, who is apparently like a ghost hunter, and we'll find things that are from basically trace evidence. We'll find prints.
We took her out to an area and there was the largest canine print we have ever found.
And then we found
anywhere.
Something was breaking the necks of snakes, which we were thinking birds at first, but they were always like arranged on these rocks.
There was like an altar built.
Yeah,
almost.
but we're finding that, but it's trace evidence of stuff that's happened previously. Nothing happened at all like that. It seems like bringing an extra person out throws that dynamic off, but the phenomenon still wants an audience.
Yeah.
So when we're able to live stream.
So we figured that out, I think.
Yeah, we're able to live stream from these areas. So there's just 2 people on the ground, but there's people watching from all around the world, and it sometimes likes to show off. And what's crazy is that not only is it showing off in weird lights, weird vocalizations, it's showing off on look what I can do to your technology. Look what I can do to your cell phones, your computers, your televisions. Look, the one night that was the most severe is we were doing a Starlink test, because part of the reason we have a membership program is to be able to do stuff like that, to be able to field stuff that normally we wouldn't be able to field if it was just the 2 of us paying for everything. So we were trying to do a trial run on the Starlink, and Jesse found a tree bend and started messing with it to release it, and something popped at her out of the tree. We don't know if it was a wood knock, a pop, what it was. She jerks back, she puts her hand on the tree again and again. So we we're leaving. Sorry, we left. We kept hiking up the mountain to where we were going to stream from. And it felt like we were getting paced the entire way up there. So we're like, all right, let's get this Starlink up and running really well. So we throw it up. We're trying to get it running. We've got some instrumentation running and everything like that. It's basically going to be a trial run for the Starlink. Right as the Starlink goes live, something screams at us from the woods really closely. And with that scream, everything goes freaking haywire. And it stayed haywire for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Our equipment was going crazy. Batteries. I had camera, flashlight, and just rechargeable batteries and instruments that never worked again after that night. They would never take a charge. We had to replace them. We had SD cards that got fried that I got to send the Samsung brand one in because they've got a great warranty. If you ever need SD cards, Samsung's got an awesome warranty. And they were like, did you hit this with a magnet? And I'm going, no, I did not have a magnet, a powerful magnet pressed up against my camera. But people watching from home started having weird stuff happen in their homes while they were watching us live. Broken clocks that started working.
The looping thing was happening during that too.
The looping thing was happening. We were having people that were watching on computers, and then their computers would like crash, and they would switch to their TVs to watch it on their internet TVs. That would crash. They'd watch it on their phones. I mean, it was just such a wide, and everybody's reporting this all over the world that's like watching this live stream. And I'm going, something is showing us what it's truly capable of. That these phenomena stay in the shadows so often.
And it's like that electronic contagion.
Yeah. And I'm just going, something's flexing on us right now and showing us this is what I can do. Leave my damn tree bend alone, Jesse. This is what I'm capable of doing. Because it felt like something was just really flexing that night, man. I mean, and that was a long, tense hike out of there that night. Because I'm going, we've upset something up here. We've upset something that's like far greater than like a monkey running around in the woods. We've upset something old and strong up here that is not only understands what electronics are, but has the ability to like mess with them all over the friggin' world.
JD Smooth said they was tired of Jesse taking their rocks instead of trap.
Man, the traps are so...
Surviving the Strange had an interesting point here. He said, I'm late. Did you see the Explore Act pass?
Yep.
No more permits or limits to filming on NOS or BLM land.
Yep. I actually saw that the other day. I was talking to our boy, I think I was talking to Death Wish, and we were talking about that it passed. So it's opening up the outdoors to a lot more people.
Yeah. To
go out there and enjoy it and kind of share what they experience out there.
Yeah. Hawk is sending me some interesting information as well.
Send it to Jesse also. Awesome. Thank you, buddy. A lot of that was passed because of part of the reason we don't really publicly share locations are because, if we have a video and it gets like 120,000 views or whatever, it's 120,000 people that have seen it.
Yeah.
And if they know where we're at and even a fraction of them decide to go,
then that place is destroyed.
It's destroyed. And especially we get a lot of reports from hunters. Mm-hmm. And if a
lot of the areas that we investigate are near or adjacent to wildlife management areas.
So we're always respectful of the hunters that tell us we don't want to like ruin it. So next hunting season, they're out there and there's a bunch of people. So we try to be
banging on trees.
Yeah, we try to be overly respectful to these areas, but not everybody's like that. And you get like a lot of influencers that are out doing crazy stuff. Didn't you say that you saw some influencer chick sticking her arm in one of the hot springs?
Oh,
and
yeah,
Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's 200 degrees, homie. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
One of the geysers in the hot springs at Yellowstone just went beyond the barricade and stuck her arm in it.
Yeah.
I love this comment, by the way, from Stephen Tichenel. Last night's broadcast gave me Mysterious Island of Dr. Moreau vibes.
Yeah.
Love that comment.
Skinner, welcome to the membership. You were a member once before. Welcome back.
As long as we don't have like the most dangerous game vibes coming in.
That was like my favorite short stories.
The most dangerous game?
Most dangerous game. Favorite short story.
I could see that. I could see that.
Best ending ever. Best ending ever, man. Just best ending. I love a good revenge. I love a good revenge thing. Booberry, hope you don't regret having to evolve and be open to weirdness as time passes. I know for many ignorance is bliss, and some may not want to know, but ever evolving is a good thing in my humble opinion. The person asked earlier about what advice you would give to a noob Bigfoot hunter. First off, when you really get down to it, none of us have really proven anything. So don't feel bad that you're just starting out, because people that have been doing it longer, nobody has a great track record. I always have like people, just because we're still fairly like new on the public scene, you know, and I'll have people be like, well, I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm going, that's great. I'm sure you've learned a lot of like stuff. And if they're jerks about it, I'll be going, let's just brass tacks here. You've been failing for 40 years. We've been failing less amount of time than you. So maybe we're better. I don't know. But it's, a lot of this stuff is, I think a lot of the reason why people try to portray themselves as these like Bigfoot
the
experts,
great white hunter.
Yeah, is that it's difficult to admit that you don't really know a lot about what's going on out here. And it's difficult.
And that's a blow to the ego, honestly.
This thing's an ego killer. I mean, the night we were talking about as far as doing the live stream, when it was messing with everybody's computers, man, you're having the sense of just like, my God, this is vast and it's beyond us.
It's beyond our
so far beyond us.
For sure.
Even simple things like, we've always heard vocalizations coming from the area that the parabolic was pointed at Saturday night. Always. And then all of a sudden now they change up when we point a parabolic dish at them. You can't tell me that something didn't know on a level what we were trying to do and flexed on us. Okay. There's when you start to pay attention to this, and this is what weirds me out, is how interactive all of this stuff is sometimes. How interactive it all is sometimes. It's so interactive. It's always a couple steps ahead of you. You start to see that a lot of the folklore and legends that our ancestors used to share about these things, this weird sort of like precognition, this prescience that it seems to have, it's all true. You're dealing with stuff that you don't trick anything. You are, and part of the reason is that's why we're kind of loud sometimes, and we're very kinetic. We move around. We're hoping to agitate something or make something curious. I don't think you can trick any of this stuff.
No.
I don't think you can fool any of this stuff. The best thing you can do is maybe make it curious, tick it off, or maybe get some pity out of it. These poor guys have been running around the woods in sub-freezing weather for hours. I got to show them something, you know? So
Hawk had a good point. They've watched humans for years and know what we are capable of doing. I want to say a big thank you to Rick Skinner, who has upgraded today. Thank you.
So upgrade. I knew he was a member before, so that's awesome. We appreciate it, Rick.
Ricky Tiki Tavi.
And guys, and like I said, I mean, I know we talk about stuff like that all the time, but that's what's allowing us to do the Starlink, new equipment, to really get, and then getting out there and really kind of hitting it. Getting out there and really kind of getting out there and keeping
us in those Vienna sausages.
Keeping us in those Vienna sausages.
Joe won't eat them. He was so hungry the other night. We were out there and he was so hungry. I was like, baby, just I'll pop a can and just eat a couple. No. He's like, I will starve to death on the side of this mountain.
I don't want processed meat snacks. So Hawk talking about no deep fishing. I saw Jaws as a kid, and Jaws stuck with me. I am willing to put myself into some sketchy situations, but I don't want to be on like open water. I don't want to do any like ocean, like I don't want to look for like ocean sea monsters. I don't want to look for lake sea monsters. Okay. Puddles and ponds only is all I'm doing. If there's puddle and pond monsters,
I'm down
and
pond man.
Yeah, so I'm a puddle and pond man. So
you've been to the beach and swim in the ocean?
Yeah, but I don't like sand. I don't like salt water. I'm telling you right now, it's instinctually grained.
I don't like the sun very much.
Yeah,
so I think that's all out for us.
All right, I'm gonna try to catch up.
Really heavy hitting conversation. I don't like sand. I don't like salt. I don't like sun.
Oh Lord. So let's see what else we got here.
I think eventually we ought to go and investigate the Loch Ness Monster. Just because I don't like the Loch Ness Monster so much, I think that we should go investigate.
That would be a great story arc, character development. What if you see it
and I come around?
And you come around and you're like, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't want to do anything else but investigate the Loch Ness Monster now, Joe. I want to move over here, and then we'll just have to switch gears.
It's like those criminals who like learn their lesson and then they go into like crime prevention after they paid their debt to society.
So All right. We really need to do a thing with the William Kennedy's greatest comments sometimes, you know.
We should just have like a section of the shop with William Kennedy's greatest hits on it. Oh, I'm going to add this here. Hang on. We've not done this today. In the realm of self-promotion, everybody. Don't we love it? Don't we love it? We have restocked our shop with the classic logo drawn by Jonathan Dodd. We've restocked our shop with the classic logo t-shirts in sizes extra small to 5XL. Here is a link to the Hellbent Holler shop. You can purchase yours there. Purchase. Then that goes towards all of this too. Supporting this crazy freaking project.
What also supports us is giving us a like. Would it kill you? Would it really kill you?
Buying us Whopper Juniors is what it does. We have the best Whopper Juniors in the world. We went through this teeny tiny little town and had the best Whopper Juniors in the world the other day.
I mean, it's crazy. Saban's talking about me getting frostbite. Even last night.
Oh my gosh.
Last night was warmer yesterday was warmer during the day, but it got really cold last night. And we saw some weird lights in the woods. And I'm trying to turn the main camera over from night vision to regular vision, like regular filming, to see if I can capture these lights. My fingers are so numb. I'm trying to like hit the button and I can't do it because I can't wear bulky gloves. You've got to wear as warmer gloves as you can find. I use like Black Diamond ski gloves because I can still manipulate everything. But even then my hands were so numb. I'm trying to hit the button and I'm just I don't want to turn my headlamp on, and I know by feel where the buttons are, but I can't feel anything. And I'm just going, I don't know if I've got the right button or not. It's very...
Oh, so somebody suggested, I have Raynaud syndrome, so my hands like basically lock up when I get cold in my feet. So my extremities get really cold and they get super pale or blue, and so I'm not really great in cold weather. Somebody suggested that I use mittens, and I've never used mittens before. So we went into Sierra Trading Post today to see if we can find me a pair of mittens. I found the freakiest pair of mittens. I didn't buy them though. Have you seen these where you have 3 fingers together and then these are separate?
Not even shooting mittens. There's shooting mittens where you can take your finger out to manipulate the trigger. This is just
a Ninja Turtle hand.
That was a Ninja Turtle hand.
Mitten. So. We're gonna do last call. I think it's 8:53. This has been a whirlwind of a show, talking about all of our weird stuff we've gotten.
I'm going to try to dip down to the bottom of the chat to see what I can try to find here.
Marina Crew asked, when are you getting more hats in? I am making an order tomorrow with our friend D for the Stitch Witch. I'm putting an order in. I'm going to text her tomorrow. Dewey finally gave me her number. And she is doing an interview. That's up top. Yeah. She's doing an interview sometime soon. There you go.
Stitch Witch got a call from the news too this morning. Wanted to interview her Wednesday morning about her sewing and embroidery business.
So I've got to get my order in
now before she gets started with stuff.
Yes. So I'm gonna.
Dewey, remember who's your boy? All right, remember who your boy. Stitch Witch is gonna get like insanely busy, make a bunch of it, and then they just won't talk to us anymore. They'll be slumming with us. You know what I'm saying? My
goal is to get so big I ain't gotta talk to nobody.
So,
yeah, so I'm doing some new colors on some stuff, and I'll be getting some beanies too. I know that winter will be over, but we'll get those done. We'll get those out and about. And
this is a good one too. On the Saturday night broadcast, I wish you did have a third person so you could further explore while having somebody back at the tech table. We're toying around the idea about trying to do something with our boys, Joe and Ron from Wild and Weird, West Virginia. If you guys have never, matter of fact, pull up their channel, put a thing in there. Somebody had sent us a message going, have you guys ever seen these Joe and Ron dudes? They do a lot of stuff that's like you guys. And I'm like, yeah, because we come up with a lot of that stuff together. We trade a lot of stuff back and forth. If everybody in the community was like Joe and Ron, this would be awesome. You know what I'm saying? So they're also very much into
that is a link to their YouTube channel.
They're into the high strangeness aspect like we are. They use a lot of the same equipment we do because a lot of times we compare notes on equipment. A lot of like the Geiger counter we use, I got that under the suggestion of Joe and Ron. They help guide me to the right one. The Phasm cam setup that we have, the full spectrum camera, you'll see them use it because once we got it figured out, we shared it with them. So there's a lot of information that goes back and forth on stuff like that. But we're thinking about trying to maybe do something with them over the next few months where they can set up and do like data collection.
Well, we really want to travel up to West Virginia and do that.
And then we bust around in the woods and see if we can stir something up.
That'd be awesome. I just had a great idea for a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
A murdered out Helmet Holler t-shirt where it's a black shirt,
black on black,
black print.
Make a note. So,
all
right.
Mega goth. All right. Yeah. Check them out. That's the link to Wild and Weird West Virginia. They are great friends of ours. We trade a lot of stuff back and forth, a lot of info. They're really cool guys. They're hilarious as well. So,
all right. So let's see what else we got here. People know Joe and Ron. They've been doing stuff with Small Town Monsters. Generally, if we're ever at conferences or whatnot together, we always try to get tables side by side. Jesse was actually on their podcast for about a year or so.
Yeah.
Was actually on there for a while until Helmet Holler started taking up too much time, but they are wonderful people. And if you go over there,
that's how I learned to be the magnificent MC Mikestress you see today.
So if you ever go over there, tell them you're from Helmet Holler. They're some of our favorite people. They get it. They just get it.
Yeah.
They get it. They just get it. They get it. I just like a lot of times when we're talking to like normal Bigfoot people, we try to tap the weirdness down. You know what I'm saying?
I'm wearing one of Ron's crystals.
Yeah.
He did crystal wrapping.
But we, with them, we're just going, have you seen this? Oh my, it's just great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When Dewey unveiled the helmet at the CryptidCon for Jesse, there were a few people kind of gathered around.
The general public doesn't know about the helmet at all.
I know. So the helmet is a piece of tech that Dewey built for us. And Ron and I are just standing there with our mouths covered going, oh my Lord, because Ron ain't the dumbest person you ever met. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, the helmet is a device that Dewey custom built for us that I'm going to be using for my contact experiments project. It's like if you took the God helmet and just ramped it up to 11. Yeah.
So it's coming out soon. But yeah, they're good people. Let them know that Helmet Holler sent you. We're gonna try to get out into the field with them real soon and do some good stuff. We just mesh well, man. We get it. It's weird. So it's there's that thing, as I mentioned, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia earlier with the Charlie board. That's how I feel when I try to talk about some of this stuff. I just feel like a raving conspiracy theorist.
You are.
There's a thing that says everyone, no matter who you meet, you can basically describe them by using two of the characters from.
I came up with that concept.
Yeah, was that you?
Yeah,
okay, I thought that was a thing.
In the bar, yes.
Jesse has a
years
thing.
ago.
Jesse has a thing. We're going. No matter who you meet, you can describe them by going. They're a little Dennis or a little Charlie. The characters from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, everybody's a combination.
It's weird because when we're with Joe and Ron, we're always like each of us is a weird blend of like the other ones. You know what I'm saying? It's very bizarre at this point.
You're a Dennis Mac.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely a Dennis. So you're a.
I'm a D Charlie.
No,
I'm a Frank Charlie.
You're a Frank Charlie. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm a Frank Charlie. I am.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's weird because we all get around each other, and each of us shares like a little bit of skill set and interest with the other ones. It's a real good blend. So, what's up, Beret? I've thoroughly enjoyed seeing your channel has grown, especially your equipment. Last night got real. Yep. And we are going to keep growing. We are going to keep.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. We got over the first round of equipment upgrades for cameras. We're in a good place. We still got a few more to go, but like I said, we're gonna sell it. You might see a knife sale going on because we might liquidate some knives to kind of put in to kind of help this equipment thing go along, to get us ready for the weird areas we're going into right now. But anyway, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for this evening. Sorry it was a little discombobulated.
I think it was good.
Y'all should be.
You did a good job, Joe.
Didn't
Joe do a good job? I want to just let everybody know Joe did a good job. I think we all saw that. We've all witnessed this.
So you were going to see I'm going to be honest with you. We're trying to we want to get this other Laurel Creek stuff out.
So we can get on to this other
start
part.
showing this other freak show that we're on right now.
Yeah.
And Jesse might even kind of do a little quick cut clip of some of the stuff we've experienced in the new place. If it's not going to confuse people, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got cool stuff coming, man. It's cool. And it's stand by for stuff to get weird.
Now it gets weird.
Is
that what they said? Okay, now it gets weird. Is that the phrase?
I said, what did I say?
Listen, it gets kind of weird from here.
Because I was
you were
like,
losing your.
I think it's when I said, all right, now here's where it gets weird. And people were going, it's already weird. What are you talking about?
I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah, this is when it gets weird.
This is when it gets weird.
All right, so guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to eat and go to bed.
Oh,
and then start it all again tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a blast.
Sue G said, awesome live as always. You two should spend the rest of the night patting each other on the back. We're actually going to go put a Whole Foods pizza in the oven.
Eat it and then go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
And then tomorrow we get to start cleaning muddy equipment and charge it and clean it.
And editing video.
And getting it all ready again. We are going to try to go live from location this weekend. This is ambitious, but we might try to go live and see if we can hear any of the stuff that we heard this week and see if we can hear it live and transmit it to people. I'm thinking about trying to work a shotgun mic into our streaming device, so that I'm going to test that this week to see if we can do it.
All right, we might be upgrading the streaming situation because that's pretty badass.
I think I know how to do it. I think I know how to do it. So, but that way we'll be able to live stream some of these more distant sounds that we hear.
Yeah.
We've got to watch out, because if we're screaming near it, we're going to blow everybody's eardrums out. You know what I'm saying? It's going to just distort the noise. So we're going to have to basically just go, we're not talking until this microphone is out.
Yeah. And then just do the
no
old
matter what happens.
Swapperoo.
Yeah, do the old swapperoo.
The old swapperoo. All right, cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Most innovative guy in cryptozoology. You're looking at him right here. That's me.
Doing a great job.
Doing a great job.
I married up. I did. Thank you guys for joining us Saturday night. Thank you to our members who joined us last night for that bananas freak show in the truck that we had, going over all of the crazy stuff that happened. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your notifications on. Make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. I have a link to our shop. I'm going to put that in there one more time. If you guys want to order any merch from the shop, that just helps with the project, and also it looks cool as hell. So take a look at that, see if you want anything off of there. Thank you to our members for supporting this project. We could not do this without you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. It's pizza time. So we'll catch you guys later. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Good night, y'all.